I cannot believe we got Marisa Peer to sit down with us. She is famous for her rapid transformational therapy, so definitely check this one out. Marisa, it's so great to have you here. We've been trying to get you in the chair for a very long time, so thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be here.
So to start off, tell me about yourself and your businesses.
So I was brought up by my father, who was an amazing head teacher. I think you call it a principal in America. And I looked at the impact he had on children that came through his school. And I always wanted to be a child psychologist, but I realized very quickly that wasn't quite for me. So I abandoned that and ended up teaching aerobics for Jane Fonda, which was much more me. I was living in LA. It was great fun. But I always had an interest in human behavior, fascination, if you like. And so I ended up training in hypnotherapy with a guy called Gil Boyne out near Burbank. And then eventually I went back to London. I was a therapist for many years, and I became a writer. I worked on many television shows, both in front of and behind the camera. I think I'm writing my 7th book, it's just about to come out. It's called Tell Yourself a Better Lie, and it's really all about the fact that most humans' pains are caused by the lies they tell themselves. We think it's someone else's fault, but it's actually the way we dialogue with ourselves and lie to ourselves. And so now I still see clients, I write books, I speak, I lecture, I train, but my biggest thing is teaching my very own method called RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy. I've been teaching that. I think I've taught so far 11,000 people all over the world to do what I do. We have it in schools, we have it in a few prisons. It's really taking the world by storm, and I'm immensely proud of it because there are not enough women in self-help. You know, initially we look at the original therapists like Freud and Erickson, they were all male, and there really aren't enough women working in the business of helping people live a better life, especially women who've just done it all themselves. I mean, I think the thing I'm most proud of is that no one helped me, I did it all myself.
Well, I want to hear more about that.
Okay.
But first, will you explain what RTT is? What do you teach?
Yeah. RTT means Rapid Transformational Therapy. Many people say, the words rapid and therapy shouldn't go together. But I think they should. I think if you turn up in ER or at a chiropractor or at the dentist in pain, they don't say, well, we have to build a relationship first before you get better. They get you better fast. And I've always thought when you turn up at a therapist office in pain, that could be emotional pain, could be a pain of having migraines or stomach aches. Your doctor says, well, these are psychosomatic. But pain is pain. It hurts. And I've always thought therapy should match every other model of pain resolution by getting rid of it as fast as you possibly can.
So how do you do that? How do you work with people?
Well, rapid transformational therapy is very interesting. I realize as a therapist, I've been a therapist my entire adult life. I've spent my entire adult life studying human behavior. And I think one of the things I realized very quickly is humans are not complicated. Behavior isn't complicated. It's actually very simple. And Einstein always said simplify, and I always wanted to simplify therapy. And I think when you're a therapist, your first job is to be like a detective. You're really gathering information, looking for clues, trying to work out what's happened. When you have that information, you actually become an interpreter. And you start to interpret with the client. You see your father left when you were 1, or you were the 6th girl and your parents wanted a boy, and that's why you've picked up this belief that you're not enough. And after you've done the interpreting, after you've done the investigating and the interpreting, you then become a massive interrupter. You interrupt all the client's beliefs and show them, look, this was relevant once upon a lifetime ago, but it's not relevant. And finally you become a coder. You must code in, wire in and fire in a different belief. Just like someone comes to your computer and says, you've got a bug, let me update it and it will work better. Well, we often have bugs. We have massive bugs in our thinking. When you update your own software and put in something better, you feel better, actually for the rest of your life.
So, I know you do this. Could you walk us through a simple process?
Yeah, I'll give you a very simple process. So, for instance, a man came to see me a few years ago and said, my children said, Daddy, you must never get out of the car when you come to get us from school. No one must know how fat you are. He said, you'd think that would make me feel bad, but the response to that was to eat more cake. And then had to pick them up on a plate, and they said, don't get out of the car. You must never get out of the car. And he said, and obviously my daughters are deeply ashamed, and I did get out of the car because I had to ring the bell, and they were horrified and they wouldn't speak to me for a week. And he said, and you'd think, knowing that my obesity is hurting them, would stop me, but actually my response to that is to eat more and to eat more and to eat more. And most people say, well, you know, I was born like that. I can't help it. I've always been like that. Any parent with a child will say, no, that's not true. You cannot force feed a baby. Come at them in the high chair and they kind of go like that, or they spit it out. So no one is born saying, I can't leave food, I can't bear being the focus of attention, don't like being looked at, not very confident. But his belief was, I'm powerless around food, I'm out of control, there's something wrong with me. And actually, in the first part of what we do, which is being a good detective, investigating, he shared with me many scenes. One of them was being a premature baby, having a mother who would be hysterical. She'd feed him, he'd bring the food up, she'd feed him again. His life was feeding, weighing, feeding, weighing. And small babies are like sponges. They pick up anxiety. Every time he vomited, the mother will get anxious and start to cry and weigh him with this constant threat if he's going to have to go back in an incubator if he doesn't gain weight. Eventually that passed, he began to gain weight. And then the mother was very happy and called him a little jumbo jet and would praise him for eating well. And actually that made sense, because I had a friend who had twins, and I was at her house about 2 years ago, and in this twins' crib they had all these monitors, so every time they vomited all these alarms would go off, parents would run in, give them more food, weigh them, and do the same thing. They're going to have to go back to hospital, they're going to be put back, they've got to gain weight. So the baby picks up the mother's stress, but they pick up a message. It's really important to eat, it makes mommy happy, you must eat, it's good to eat, it's bad to lose weight. So now this is a fleeting thought that becomes a fixed belief. Fleeting thought means it happens once. When it happens over and over again, and you have a small child, an authority figure, and a scary event, it becomes an imprint, and it prints itself in. It's rather like if your mother screams when she sees a dog, becomes hysterical when she sees a cat. That's an imprint, and now the child has a belief. Dogs are terrifying, cats are terrifying, people are terrifying. So now this one has an imprint. I need to eat or I'll die. So we look at that and we interpret, well, that was absolutely true when you were 2 pounds. Now you're 450 pounds. You know it isn't true. And now we have to interrupt that belief and say, actually, the thing that will kill you is being 450 pounds. But we learn what we live. Our whole character is shaped before we are 5. We have a parent saying, do you know how long Mummy spent making that food? You can't leave it, or you're going to have to sit at the table until you finish, or you're going to be punished. We learn to override our natural ability to eat less, to stop when we've had enough. No baby says, cookies, I might never get another one. I need to eat all of them. And then no baby says, I ate too much. I need to starve myself, punish myself, run around the garden 10 times because I'm so bad. I had a cookie. This is all learned behavior. And what RTT does is it unlearns it. Many therapeutic techniques are like talking and trying to work out why. But RTT goes back into the mind to find out why. When it has that information, it challenges it, it changes it, and it recodes the thinking. For instance, one of the things I do with clients like that man is to tell them that it thrills them, elates them, delights them, and empowers them to leave food. Every time they leave food, they feel elated, they feel delighted, because so often we're acting off outdated beliefs. So for this client, that was a life change of him. He said, you know, I love food. I'm like, no, that's not love. That is abuse. Eating 8 Krispy Kreme donuts and a tub of Ben & Jerry's, how could that be love? That's abuse. And the whole diet industry says to women, hate your body, hate it, punish it, starve it, live on celery and carrots, go to the gym, do the plank, do stuff you hate. Hate your body, and no wonder it's failing, because the only way to have the body you love is to love the body you have, and then you can treat it with respect. So, but the big thing we work on is really lack of confidence, lack of self-belief, money blocks, health blocks, love blocks. So many people have this belief, I'm not enough, I'm not lovable enough, I'm not worthy enough. And it's actually an epidemic. And so I love the fact that I created a technique that identifies it changes it and replaces it with something way better.
Beautiful. I love your stories. How do we get in those new beliefs? How do we anchor them in, recode them in, you said?
Well, I think with everything, I'm a great believer that you can't fix what you don't understand. So, and also you need to understand how the mind works. The human mind loves what is familiar, wants to run back to what it knows while running away from what it doesn't know. The most common example of that is if you never get praise. If your parents do not praise you, and then you meet someone who goes, "You're so great," you go, "What, me? No, I'm terrible. I'm hopeless. I'm useless." If you don't get praise but get a lot of criticism when someone praises you, even if they say, "I love your jacket," you go, "Oh, I've had it for 5 years. I got it in a second-hand shop. By the way, we need to try cleaning." Someone might say, "Hey, I love the book you..." "Oh, it's awful. It was terrible. It's not selling very well." And so we have to look at the mind's ability. It is an absolute fact that your mind loves and wants to go back to what is familiar while avoiding what is unfamiliar. Here's another fact. You can make anything you like familiar. And if you want to change your life, make praise familiar. Praise yourself. There is nothing on the planet that will boost your self-esteem more than praise. So start going, "Hey, I'm a good person. I'm kind. I've got a good heart. I'm good at my job. I have a gift for IT or decorating or cooking. It's what I'm really good at." I don't go, "Oh no, I'm terrible." So praise yourself more. Criticize yourself less. Just those two things on their own will change your life so dramatically. And our TT is really all about simple things that you can do to change, like joining the I Am Enough movement. I worked out long ago that all my clients came in with a variety of "I'm not enough." I'm not good enough, so I'm very needy. I need praise. I'm not rich enough. I need to work hard, even when they were millionaires. I don't have enough, so I need to eat more, or drink more, or medicate more, or shop more. And when I realized that all of my clients had different variations, because they were not enough, I created the I Am Enough movement to have people say, "I am enough. I've always been enough. I always will be enough." Although I Am Enough is incredibly simple, its strength is actually its simplicity and indeed its honesty. When you go, "Hey, I'm a rock star," I go, "Yeah, but you're not really a rock star. Come on. You live in an apartment with 3 other people. You don't even have a car. You buy your clothes in Target. You're not a rock star. You're not a goddess." Even if I'm a goddess, but you don't really believe that. You take your clothes and go, "Didn't really look like a goddess, do I?" But I'm enough is absolutely truthful. And so one of the things I do with all my clients, and particularly the 11,000 people I've trained, is to go, "Look, whoever's coming in to see you could be a billionaire, could be a school teacher, could be somebody with an addiction, could be somebody with a phobia or a fear. There's always going to be 3 things wrong with these people. It's only ever 3. The first one is I'm not enough. So whenever I see someone with an eating disorder, compulsive shopping, a drug addiction, any addiction, I know straight away that what lies beneath that is I'm not enough. The second problem people have is this belief, I'm different, so I can't connect. When we are born, we are hardwired to find connection and avoid rejection, because connection means I will survive. I'm connected to my parents, people raising me like me, I'll survive. And that was easy when we lived in a tribe because we all looked the same. But now in multicultural societies, it's easy to go, I'm not like you. And then the media says you should have thin thighs and fat hair. But you go, "But I've got thin hair and fat thighs, therefore I'm different, so I can't connect." It's incredibly common to have this fear. But here's the truth. If you have that fear, the very fact that you have it means you're the same as everyone. Everyone is the same as you, because our greatest fear is to be different. You notice when you send your kids to school, that's why they have uniforms, to make all the children feel the same. It doesn't actually work. And the third thing is that I want something so much, but it's not available. I want love. I was given up for adoption. My dad left before I was born. I want health, but I've got the depressed gene. I want wealth, but I wasn't educated. And so we have these blocking beliefs. I'm not enough. I'm different, so I can't connect. What I want is not available to me. And once you can look at those beliefs, because I promise you, it's only giving one of those three things. You can have all of them, or two, but you haven't got anything else but that. And I know that because over 34 years, I've tried that with every client I was in, and I've never had one ever that didn't fit into that category. And you think, okay, well, if that's what's wrong with me, I have the power to fix it. The saddest thing is we walk around going, I'm just messed up, don't know what's wrong with me. You can shortcut it by saying, I promise you it's one of those three things. You can identify it, but then you can start to change it by going, well, there's nothing wrong with me. You know, for me, my father was my head teacher. That was actually not a great thing when you were a kid. My father was my principal. All the other kids thought I was a freak. I thought I was a freak. And I carried that with me for a long time until I made it a self-perpetuating prophecy. I'm different. I'm not like other people. I want to be the same, but it's not available to me, and I'm not enough. But when I really worked out that was what it was all about, I thought, well, I can just change that. You see, the way you feel about everything, and I do mean everything, is down to the pictures you make in your head and the words you say to yourself, which you are free to change. And the same thing with familiar, unfamiliar. While it is a fact that we like what is familiar, you can make anything you like familiar, including praising yourself and being nice to yourself and believing in yourself.
That is so empowering and freeing, and you made it so simple. Like you have years and a whole lifetime of these beliefs, but guess what? You get to change them.
Yeah, and you know, when I've trained those 11,000 people, I've got a lot more to train next year. I always say to them, listen, your job as a therapist is to do two things. Give your clients freedom and empower them. That's your job. And if you send them out of your office with freedom and empowerment, you've done an amazing job.
You said something interesting about there's not enough women in self-help.
Yeah.
What do you
Well, you know, if you think that the whole self-help industry started around about the 50s with Freud, and all doctors were men. I mean, there were just so few women doctors in the 30s, 40s, 50s. So now we've had a few wonderful people like Louise Hay. There are some great people out there, there's no doubt. There's Gabby Bernstein. There's some amazing people out there, but there's not enough. Women still feel, you know, it's a man's world, and there's certainly not enough women speakers. I mean, there are some great ones. Again, who's the one I love? Brené Brown. She's amazing. But if you look at the TED Talk and you put it into group, there's so less women doing what they can do, and yet women by nature are nurturing, multitasking. They understand human behavior. But I think women have always felt, oh, I should be quiet. And I know for me, I worked on many, many television shows, and it was always me and men. So that I'd be the therapist. There was a doctor and a personal trainer. And even I felt it, I shouldn't really say what I want to say because this doctor is an eminent doctor. And I had to really get over that, because the most important words you'll ever hear are the words you say. And I had to say, Marisa, you have something to say. And of course, this doctor was saying, what do we know? It's all about calories in, calories out. And that's not true. It's not about calories in, calories out. Otherwise, everyone who ate a lot would be heavy, and everyone who didn't would be skinny. We know that's not true. It's about the sugar content of your food. It's not about fat. Fat is your friend and sugar is your enemy. But when you're coming up as a woman in a male-dominated industry, and you have an opinion that other people don't believe in, it can be a little intimidating, but you just have to keep going.
So what do you want to say to women watching?
I think women are being told forever, you can't have it all. Just not possible. If you want to be a great mum, you certainly can't have a great career. And if you want a great career, you can't be a great mum. And even if you could juggle that, you've got to have a relationship and children and a career. There's just no way. Something's got to give. There was a movie with Jack Nicholson called Something's Got to Give. And even if you could spin all those plates and have all three, you're going to be so stressed, you're going to pay a price, which is your health. And that is not true. Women can have it all. You can have a great career, a great marriage, be a great parent, and have a great body. You can do yoga, meditate, and still juice if that's what you want to do. But in order to have it all, you have to believe you can have it all, because the strongest force in you and me and everyone else is that we act in a way that is consistent with how we define ourselves. We have to act in a way, we have no choice but to act in a way that matches our thinking. When you say nobody can have it all, the price you pay, it's too difficult, my kids are going to suffer if I have a great career, my career will suffer if I'm a great parent. Stop all of that. Look at someone like Michelle Obama. There are women coming up now who have it all, who have all of it. They are great mums. They do make an impact in the world. They have a career. They still do have time to look after their health and eat well and sleep well and maybe do Pilates if that's what they want to. And I think it's a terrible thing we've been lied to for so long. You've got to stay at home, and the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. And whenever kids go wrong, we go, well, what kind of mother did they have? No one says what kind of father. And, you know, women have always taken a lot of flack and have been told they can't have it all. You can have it all the time. But the first thing to have it all is you have to believe you're worth it. And then you have to decide, what does that look like, having it all? And by the way, you've got to, in fact, I met some reasons, you know, I decided not to have children because I didn't believe that. I believed I had to support my husband in our business, and I couldn't have children. And I thought that was a great shame that she paid the ultimate price, because why can't, of course she could have had it all. It does involve some juggling, but you absolutely can have it all. And plenty, look at Reese Witherspoon. She's got a production company. By all accounts, she's a great mum. She looks amazing. She's in a great relationship. Of course you can have it all, but we're always hearing about people who haven't got it all. We should hear about the ones that do.
So tell us about your new book coming out.
So my new book is called Tell Yourself a Better Lie, and I based that on the premise that every client that came to my office for 30 years, I did a lot of research, their pain was caused not by some external, the lies they told themselves. I'd forget my eyes if they weren't screwed into my head. Everything I touched falls apart. You see, I can gain weight just looking at food. Every person I meet ghosts me. I never keep a job for longer than a year. I was a disappointment. I'm very scared of messing it up, and therefore I'm going to procrastinate or sabotage or hold back. And we think our pain is caused by other people. But that whole I'm enough, and that comes from the lie we just, I'm not enough. You know, Marilyn Monroe didn't think she was enough. Princess Diana never thought she was enough. Michael Jackson didn't think he was enough, hence wild, crazy, out of control shopping. George Michael didn't think he was enough. Heath Ledger, Prince. All these women, we think, Prince? He was talented and smart and gorgeous. But it's an epidemic, and it's a lie. I'm not enough because I should be taller, thinner, lighter, smarter, more educated. And that's one of the biggest, most insidious lies we tell ourselves. I'm not enough. And if you could just change that to I am enough, because what happens is that we have a thought. You know, a thought comes first. People say, what about belief? A belief is just a thought you think all the time. First comes a thought. Then comes a feeling from the thought you think. You think a thought, you feel a feeling, and then actions and behaviors come after the thought and the feeling. And modern therapy is all about, let's change the action, let's change the behavior. No, forget about that. Go back and look at the thought you think, the lie you're telling yourself, and change it. I should have been a boy. I should have been a girl. I should have been good at sport. I should have been good at math. I was supposed to do this. My parents wanted me to do that. I needed to be a straight-A student. We have to understand that you're not put here to do what your parents do. I mean, my daughter is my teacher. She's nothing like me. She's artistic. She's messy. She's very quick to think things. But I never wanted her to be like me. How boring would that be if I gave birth to myself, just like me? You know, our partners, our kids are our teachers, and it's really important to value who they are and to understand they're not supposed to be like you, and to celebrate the difference. But we're so busy trying to make them like us, like, we're tidy in this house, we don't eat meat, we play music, we don't do that, or we do that. You know, I've had so many children brought to me with parents who say they've got terrible migraines. Always happens when they play the piano. So I've never met a kid in my entire career who likes the piano. I've met many parents who say, I want my kid to love the violin or the piano. They don't like it. And now they're getting migraines and all kinds of issues because that's your dream. You know, the other thing that we do in this lie that we tell ourselves is we tell ourselves someone else's story. My mum said, you can't even trust your own shadow. And she said that all her life, but that was her story. It wasn't your story. Don't make your parents or your teachers or your relatives' story your story. You have a chance to edit your story and rewrite your entire life by going back to the lie you're telling yourself, I should have been a boy. I should have been a girl. I was supposed to be super musical. My parents wanted me to be actor. I disappointed them. Well, sometimes you didn't disappoint yourself, but it doesn't matter. So it's really important to look at the lies we tell ourselves. I mean, people say, I'm exhausted. I haven't slept for a week. I'm shattered. I'm dying of stress. This commute is killing me. My boss makes me want to. My kid is driving me crazy. My bum is the size of a continent. I mean, we tell ourselves the most insane lies. And if you're really prepared to lie to yourself, at least tell yourself a better lie. My boss is difficult with everyone, but I've got great skills. The commute is a challenge, but hey, I've got all this stuff to listen to. My kid is difficult. Everyone's kid of 16 is difficult because they're learning how to be independent from me, and that's good. So if you are going to lie to yourself, tell yourself a better lie. I'm amazing. So again, if you say I'm not enough, it makes you feel so bad, so sad, angry, defeated, that your behavior often becomes no behavior. You don't take action, you don't take risks. And if you just take out the not and say, I am enough, then you feel good, you feel empowered, you feel ready to do stuff. And the behavior that comes from the thought, that comes from the feeling is, I can take a risk, I can take a chance, why not? Because I'm enough. It's like a vicious circle that you make a virtuous circle.
It's so fun to listen to you.
Oh,
and
thank you.
As I hear the stories and you give the answer, it just is, it's so simple and so perfect.
Yeah, well, it should be. You know, a couple of years ago I worked with this 17-year-old kid, a really angry kid, and he came in and started talking to me, and he said, nobody loves me. You know, my parents divorced when they were 17. They gave me to my grandparents. They're really old. And I said, but that isn't true. Somebody loves you, your aunt who paid for you to see me. And by the way, you have got elderly people raising you, but the most important words are your words. He wanted to be a chef, but felt he couldn't be anything, and he is now a very successful chef. He's got an amazing girlfriend. And I think a lot of troubled teenagers need one person to believe in them. Sometimes that's the most amazing teacher, can be an aunt. I mean, for me, I was so lucky in my crazy childhood. I had this amazing grandmother who believed in me, and I only needed her. And I think many times as a therapist, you can be that one person that can turn a kid's life around, a kid who's either going to go to jail or going to hurt themselves because they think they don't matter and they're not enough. And it's amazing that you can turn someone's life around just by saying, I believe in you. And by the way, you can believe in you. That's already two people. And you don't need many more than that to have an amazing life. But self-belief, what we tend to do is we tend to think, okay, I'm going to go out there and find someone to believe in me. Who can I find? I find a great guy, a great girl, a great boss. I'm going to fake it, and I'm going to make people believe in me. But then now you've given away that need to someone else who, even if they can meet it, things may happen to them and they can't meet it anymore. Now you're back to square one. But when you can think, okay, I have a need to feel I'm at, I could give it away. I could also give it up. It's never going to work. What's the point? I'll just live on my own with some cats and have a life where I'm never disappointed. Don't give your need up. Don't give it away. Meet it yourself. If you want to feel loved, start to go, I'm lovable, I matter, I'm a good person. If you want to feel important, start to go, I'm significant, I got a talent. Because when you say it yourself, it actually has more of an impact than someone else saying it, because there's no agenda when you say, I'm a good person with something amazing to offer the world.
This series is called The Millionaire Within Her.
Okay.
What does that make you want to tell everybody?
Well, you know, I was raised by two parents, a very interesting head teacher who, like many head teachers, was really involved in other people's kids, a mother who was very unhappy because she just wasn't fulfilled. My mother should have been a dancer, but she gave everything up to be a wife, and it didn't fulfill her. And I always felt a disappointment to my parents, and then eventually I moved out and I got my own career, and I kind of realized actually again that you can have everything. I had to go from that girl who didn't feel particularly smart and didn't feel remotely attractive, and was working with clients and really beginning to understand, oh, it's the way you talk to yourself. So many years ago I could have written a book, but I was so concerned, what if nobody likes it? What if nobody buys it? But then one day I got an amazing book deal, and I realized I had to say every day, this is an amazing book, this is a great, I was going to love this book. Had to visualize it in the windows of bookstores. And because I could see it, and every time I wrote, I go, this book is amazing. Actually, when it was finished, I thought, it's not really amazing, but good if I said that, because if I'd said, oh, it's terrible, I never would have finished it. And I realized that for women, if you want to be successful, think of what you need to hear from a boss, from a publisher. Whatever it is, say it yourself. I have written a freaking awesome best-selling book. This business I have is incredible. The words that come out of my mouth are amazing. This product I've made is phenomenal, because if you can think that, you know, I met the girl Sarah who founded Spanx, and you know, that was so clever what she did. Cut off the feet of her pantyhose because she was wearing white jeans, and then realized there was a market. But you see, realizing there is a market for something isn't enough. Then you have to think, who am I not to do this? And many people who founded incredible companies, many women, have gone out and done it themselves. And so you have to believe that you've got something incredible to offer. And for me, I realized that I was an amazing therapist, because other therapists would say, hey, I sent you my client and you turned them around. And people would say, could you teach me your kind of therapy? And it took me a while to realize, look, if everyone says I'm good at this, I must be good at it. And if I'm good at it, that must mean I'm meant to do it. It's a bit like Frank Sinatra. He was never here to be a plumber. Barbara Streisand wasn't on the planet to be a nail technician. If you have a gift, any kind of gift, that could be making cakes. You are there to share that with the other. Look at someone like Maria Montessori. Maria Montessori had a gift to revolutionize. I think it was Myra Collins who also revolutionized education. So identify your gift and then start saying, this is my gift. I'm supposed to do, I'm good at this. I mean, if you ever watch that movie, Catch Me If You Can, with Leo DiCaprio, that man is now working for the FBI. It's a skill. And so for me, I had to believe I could do it, and then I began to do it. I began doing more therapy, teaching people, having weekend courses. Then I met my husband, and his gift is marketing. And so together we became a perfect storm, because I could create content and he could market that content. And we're both very lucky, because I couldn't do what he does and he couldn't do what I do. So it works very well. And he really taught me how to market my gift. And then it just became amazing. Our world just took off like a rocket, and it's still taking off. But I think it's that combination of, have you got a skill? Believe in your skill. You must be prepared to tell everyone what you're good at. After all, no doctor says, oh, I'm not really very good. I don't really think I could treat your broken leg. I'll try. No hairdresser says, well, I'm a bit rubbish, really. But they go, I'm the best. I can make you look amazing. We think it's arrogant. We love people who say, I'm the best doctor. This is the best school. I'm the best pilot. You're completely safe. Don't worry about this turbulence. You're in the best hands. So when you tell someone you are the best, it's not arrogant. People like it. Confidence is reassuring. So I think for me it was a journey of realizing what I was good at, owning what I was good at, sharing what I was good at. And I was already doing my own marketing, and finding a marketing genius who I happened to love and marrying him. And then we created our school, and that really has been amazing. And what's so amazing is we did it all ourselves. We didn't have backers, we didn't have investors, we didn't have anyone, except we had a belief and a vision, and we knew we could do it, and we did.
Talk to us about women and money and all of these crazy limiting beliefs.
Yeah, we have so many limiting beliefs about money. People won't like you if you have money. You never know who your friends are if you have money. Women have this belief, if I have more money than a man, one of my friends said, I'm going to have to rent a bedsit and pretend I'm a waitress to find a guy, because she was a very successful television presenter. But this belief that it's greedy to want money, it's rude to talk about money. People don't, if you have money, you never know who your friends are. It's lonely at the top. It's not lonely at the top. It's very crowded at the bottom. And actually, it's good to have money, because if as a woman, you can make it on your own, you show so many other women, wow, I could be like Brené Brown. I could be like Mel Robbins. I could be like Gabby Bernstein. I could go into kind of the self-help business, or I could go into production. I mean, look at Rihanna with Fenty. She's made more money with makeup than she made. Look at Adele. You know, because I love Adele, because the belief is you've got to be a really skinny pop star. But she said, no, I'm not going to change myself. She did later. So I think women have a belief that people don't like you if you have money. They want to shoot you down. Or they believe that you can never get money, because our parents say, I can't find the money. Well, nobody finds money. You don't find when you go out and monetize a gift. And so as a parent, my little girl said, Mummy, can I have that toy? I would never go, can't find it. I go, well, sure, what can you do? You're going to have to earn 100 stars. So she'd empty the dishwasher, put stuff away. Of course, she'd chip plates. What I was teaching her, you have to get 100 stars to get that gift. And she got the gift. She never played it. She went, well, what else can I get 100 stars for? But I think it's important to look at your limiting money beliefs and to decide they're just beliefs. It's a thought you thought. People won't like you if you have money. You can never get enough money. I don't know where the money's coming from. The week has run out and the money's run out sooner. My grandmother used to say, I can't find the money. People like us don't have money. And she really believed that. She really had a poverty mindset. Many of us do have that, and yet that isn't true. There are many women, and again, Goop, look at what Goop is, look at the Huffington Post. There are many women trailblazers who are making a lot of money. But we see money as a dirty word. We think wealthy people have sold their soul to the devil and they have no morals. And yet there are many wealthy people, again, like Michelle Obama, doing really good things. So if you have money blocks, what you need to understand is most of your beliefs about money, you picked up before you were 5. I remember years ago when I was 13, I asked my father so I could have some money for my birthday. When I asked him, he was so angry, he actually threw it at me. And I thought I would never let anyone ever buy me anything. I had to be so independent, I couldn't ask anyone for money. So I married my husband, and he loves buying me stuff. And now I've had a complete reversal where I actually like that. But often we need to take a look at what did I learn about money? Who told me that? Like, good people should be pious. Good people shouldn't have money. That's absolutely ridiculous. Good people with money do more. In fact, I know someone who comes to marketing and said, I love doing this because the people who we sell their companies have so much, and all they can do is good. They've got so much that they end up doing really good things with it. So if you have money blocks, have a look at where did this belief come from? Who told me? What did they know anyway? This is my great-grandmother, my teacher. Don't show off. Never let anyone know how much money you've got. Don't talk about money. It's vulgar. It's not vulgar. And I think therapists have a second block, which is, well, I'm doing something good and I really shouldn't charge. You know, here's the thing about what you buy. You will buy anything if it makes you feel good. That's why we buy designer labels. That's why we pay money for water that says Fiji on the bottle. We pay so much money for a particular phone or computer. Whatever you buy, you're buying it because it makes you feel good. And if therapy makes you feel good, or going to Pilates makes you feel good, don't ever think that's a waste of money. Because everything we buy is because we think it will make us feel good. But of course, buying designer shoes doesn't really make you feel good. Otherwise, you only need one pair. It's our relationships with people that make us feel good. But again, money is not bad. And selling is an art that you should be very proud of. So men have money blocks, but women have so much more because they've been trained to believe that they can't hit that glass ceiling. But there is no glass. The glass ceiling is here. It's in your head. There is no glass ceiling. You can do anything big, and you can ask for a lot of money if you believe you're worth it and you've got something to offer that is worth it. You know, many years ago when I was working on my first television show, I said, how much money do you want? And luckily my friend was a producer. She said, ask for a lot. She said, if you ask low, they'll never negotiate. And if you ask for a lot, she said, if they don't want to pay, they won't say we don't want, they'll say, we can't pay that amount. And they'll negotiate you down. But don't start low, because then you can't negotiate up. And don't think if you ask for too much, they'll say, we still want you, but you can negotiate. And that was a very important lesson for me. Don't ask for less, ask for more, especially knowing you're worth it.
What do you think is running through some of those women that you mentioned, Jessica Alba, Gwyneth Paltrow? You know, what's going on? What are they telling themselves about money?
I think they understand that they are role models. You see, women have another belief: if I have more, you have less. If I take a big piece of the cake, you've only got a little piece of cake. So if I have more, you have less. And yet that isn't true. And I think people like Jessica and Gwyneth are showing us that a woman can come from nowhere in what used to be a man's world and can create a market for women about empowering them. And so I think they understand that when you're given a gift, there's a lot of expectation on you because other people look at you to be their role model. And I think so many women, again, Reese Witherspoon, you know, she has her own production. She produces amazing documentaries and movies. And I love that because they think, oh, it's not a man's world. You don't need to have a male producer, a male director. Women can do everything. Women are really good at multitasking. And I think all of those women are showing you, don't hide your light, set it on fire. Show the world who you are. Be a trailblazer. Because so many other women will look at you and will follow you because you say, well, if you can do it, I can do it. If you can do that, if somebody can come along and create Spanx, and Sarah has no investor, Sarah Blake, she's done it all herself. She's got 4 kids. She's a great mom. I've been to her office in Atlanta. She's got an amazing business. It's very heart-centered. She really cares for her employees. They provide all kinds of snacks, and they get Fridays off. They bring in speakers. And you can look at them and think, wow, she's done something amazing. But if she did it, of course, nobody looks at a man and goes, oh, a man can do that, so I can. But we need more women to go, listen, I came from nothing and nowhere. I did this my way, on my own, and you can too.
Love everything you just said. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's amazing to have you here. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom. And in this interview, there's so many nuggets that women can use right away, which I love.
Yeah. And I think for women too, if you want to be a millionaire, one of the things that helps you is to decide why you want to be a millionaire. But the big thing is, what will you do with that money? If you know that you'll help people, you already have more reasons. So work out why you want to be a millionaire. What are you going to do when you have that money? And if it's something good, if you're going to create a children's school or a charity, like for me, I fund a lot of children at an orphanage in Zimbabwe. We're now creating some sponsored places for people on our course. We just had our RTD go into 500 schools in England last month. It's all completely free. And the minute you think, wow, if I had all that money, I would do something important and empowering and good, now you have more motivation, more reason, more drive to do it. So never think, I can't. You can. But you have to know what it looks like. And then you have to be prepared to do it. You know, people who are successful do what they hate to get to where they walk on stage feeling anxious. They go to market with a product. They don't always feel confident. But if you believe you have a gift and you can see what it looks like to take that gift to market, and you're prepared to do the work, because we think, oh, I don't have to work, surely it should just happen. No, you have to work. But luckily when you do what you love, it doesn't really feel like work. But then if you know that those 3 things will create good in the world, then you really will be on fire and nothing can stop you.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much.
You know, I'm trying to think of this great girl who has honest.
Oh, Jessica Alba.
Yeah, if you look at Jessica Alba, and indeed
and Gwyneth
Paltrow, and Shakira, Shakira has a charity that helps street dogs. I love the fact that Angelina Jolie said, I never wanted to be an actress, I wanted to be a humanitarian, but I needed a platform, and I only acted to get to that. There are many women out there, even Madonna, she gets a lot of knocking, but she's funding an orphanage in Malawi. What are you doing? And why shouldn't she have adopted those 4 children? They didn't just benefit, other children benefit in Malawi because she's created a school. And there are many women out there, Oprah with her children's school in Africa, who are doing amazing things, often not even talking about it. I met someone out here in San Diego who's got she's got these charities in Africa too, but there are many women doing really good stuff. And if it's good, it will motivate you more. So don't stop, keep going.
Don't stop, keep going.
And make a difference, be the difference.
Oh, perfect.
Perfectly
said. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I hope you get to watch Marisa's interview over and over. Her advice is so valuable for every single day. So definitely keep this one on play.